Vena. I don't know how I feel about this one. I would say the what was it called? Engelbert didn't see play. So
Yep. No, nobody played that. So
My issue
I don't know.
is
What are
why
the
would you
payoffs?
play this over Cymru?
remove something from the game when she dies, which is, not.
Assuming you
insignificant.
haven't done her effect, in which case you have no crystals.
Why
Sure.
don't you just play Rug?
Yeah, like Rug or Cymru, I don't see how this replaces either of them.
No, not at all. Simple as that. Yeah, this is again L3. This would be something that wins you games in that. Is Rug in L3 still? Yeah, probably is.
Yeah.
Never mind.
They both are, I think.
Yeah, I don't
Next
think
set.
so.
Next set L3.
Ilua, finally getting to this art. So she's dark, finally, like she was in chapters. Haste 7k, 2 CP, all good. If you control 4 more backups, she can be blocked. And when she attacks, choose one forward. If you control 3 or less backups, it loses 5,000 power until the end of the turn.
Bad.
Cool for L3,
It's not-
right?
Not standard playable.
No, not
Even in
standard
L3, you could, there's better lights and darks.
playable. Yeah, probably right.
I think until there's tactic advance to support, she's just there.
Chaos. Well, and Chaos is cool.
Here we go.
Oh
So-
yeah.
Now we're talking.
4 CP 9k, not bad. Job Chaos, Category 1. When Chaos enters the field, you may remove 5 Job Chaos in your break zone. Oh, what? No, I'm never going to get 5 Chaos in the break zone. And or monsters in your break zone from the game. When you do so, your opponent selects one forward they control, put it into the break zone, and your opponent discards 2 cards. So this is who, which of the Fens is, currently having sexual relations with on a daily basis, right? Because she's just going to load up the monsters in the break zone, and anything else is just going to be like, yeah, cool, kill that, discard 2, Chaos and Arc in 1. Love it.
Gross.
For
Can't
S,
wait.
mill 10 and then deal a point of damage. I wish that the mill 10 was.
On the other side of the colon.
Because I would literally just be like, I'm going to
Absolutely
put
not.
like 15 chaos. I'm going to put every chaos in this deck and Spiritus to make sure I can search it. And
I win in one turn.
yeah, OTK with it. But they saw me coming, unfortunately. So
This card's gonna be solid.
I don't know how many you
Maybe-
can play in a deck. Maybe 2. I'm not sure it's 1.
I was just about to say that. I don't think it's an automatic 3 of that I was saying. It's probably 2, right?
It's fine.
Oh
You
no!
can see it too.
You use the S on this after your opponent uses the Cecil S and takes that damage.
Oh, you
I-
killed yourself. Well done.
I tell you what the S does do. Almost entirely by itself will give you an instant Lena effect.
Yeah, that's true.
Mill 10, as long as you have 3 more cards in your break zone, including Leviathan.
yeah.
You've pitched 2 to get this out.
There you go. Like, immediately just get fucking Lena ready
That's
to go.
really interesting. I wonder if that is a thing. Like
It's
turbo
I'm,
land.
I'm
Turbo mono water, like yeah.
I'd like this because it's a way to get a Dia or an Ultimecia almost immediately online.
Well, yeah. I think there's a lot. This is exactly what I was talking about. There's a lot of hidden depth to a card like this. So
Also, the way that the auto is, the way that it's read, you can enter, activate S, and then remove cards you've milled.
yes.
So you could actually technically do this turn 1 to discard 2.
Just got to start with 2 Chaos in hand.
Oh, and put them with the disciplinary guys in there as well, right? Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deal more damage.
You hit Rajan and Fujin, that's 2 9k bodies out.
Disgusting.
That will. Oh dear, that's going to be fun, isn't it?
Arden, 6
Ooh.
CP, 10k, limit break 1. This is really cool. So he doesn't
Really cool.
do anything apart from the fact that he doesn't die. So
He's 10k.
He is a 10k brave.
when
He's a
Arden,
10k brave that you have to kill 3 times.
when Arden is put from the field into the break zone, you may play one face-down card named Arden from your LB deck onto the field dull. If you do so, turn one face-up down card in your LB deck face up. So like he comes back, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Having it for free.
But what that means is that it can be the last card in your LB deck. Because you don't have to pay an LB cost. Like you can have used LB7 already, and it can be the last one in there. Which
And then you have to flip a card in your LB deck, but there isn't one. But this doesn't care.
yeah, because it's just doing
He's
it
already
as an
hit the
effect.
field at that point. Yeah.
That's something that's playing with the maths. I think that's really interesting. So, if, like, I really liked the when I was playing Mono Lightning. I could play Cloud, 2 Cloud, 2. I think my LB deck was 3 Lightning, 3 Cloud, and 2 Lady Lilith because you could play 2 LB2s once and 1 LB1, but you could do that in pretty much every game. So as long as you get the maths down, so that in this you can make sure that you can play as much as you want and still have 1 left. That's pretty cool, I think.
The cost is high, but he's going to be annoying to shift.
Yeah. Interesting stuff. I like it. Well, I think
Yeah.
Fire
Really
decks
cool.
don't have anything better to do, so why not? Zach didn't really set the world on fire, which it really could have done, to be honest. We really thought it would. But, you know.
I think
it's good.
exactly nobody made that Avalanche, the Cloud Pod deck we were all fearing.
Yeah, well, that's because Cloud was better than we thought it was, I suppose. But
Oh god, yeah.
next we have Vincent, which is really good. 5 CP, 8k, limit break 2, first strike, and when he enters the field, you may put 1/5 back up you control into the break zone. And when you do so, choose 1 forward, opponent control, do that 9k. Solid. Yeah.
This is why I think you don't end up playing the Arden.
I think it depends on what you're coming up against. If you go up against an aggro deck, playing the Arden feels very good because they
This
have.
is still first strike.
Yeah, but you've got to have a backup. I think you want to play this like after you have at least like 3-4 backups. But with the Arden, you can just kind of throw it down against aggro, and then it gives you time to set up.
Yeah.
But this one slows you down a bit.
You can only play one of these, I think, with the way the numbers go. But like, it's solid. Like anything that just deals like your opponent's like big boss monster and just to deal 9k, something that you've always got on tap. That's solid. If this was a higher rarity of anything, it would have more than 8k. But it's probably better that it doesn't. But no, solid. I like the idea of like getting rid of like Lycaicus as well. Just, you know, if they've already replayed a forward that they can't get rid of, that's, you know, there's good stuff you can do with this in fire decks. But yeah, not bad. Kuja, which we were all sort of down on this at first, and then went, oh, I suppose it's not that bad actually, but it's still not great. When Kuja is chosen by your opponent's summoner ability, choose up to 1 forward, freeze it, and you can dull active Kuja to choose 1 forward, dull it.
If you compare this to Ice's current options for LB cards, it's not great.
No, Sergi's was busted.
But this is good because it's not a Surgus. So you have 2 dulls in your LB as opposed to 1.
Yeah, you can play both on the same turn.
I've come around to a little bit as well in that, yeah, it's not an auto that can be ammies. If you desperately need that doll to go through that turn, you go with this instead of Surges.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's fine. You know, I'm sure this will see you play. Like the Ice LBs were among the best from 22. So like, yeah, in 23, I'm sure this will. You can fit a one of these in for definite. Kate Ziff, wow, so many mixed opinions on this one. Limit break 3, so it's finally the legend that Ice has. 6 CP, 8k brave, and when Kate Ziff enters the field, you may, if you control 5 or more Ice backups, freeze all the backups your opponent controls, and your opponent discards 1 card. I think it's really good, but I get why anybody wouldn't like it. But I think for Mono Ice, I think it's absolutely perfectly fine.
It's fine, I feel. I mean, again, has to be for tempo mono ice, so no. I mean, but then I think more of tempo mono ice have more than enough choices in their limit break cards anyway. But it's fine. I think 6 CP for an 8K Brave is not ideal, but I think you're going to get the effect of
LB6,
just
so
fine.
4.
Yeah.
But it also means as well that like the way that they do discards a lot of things is you have to have discarded the card, which is why this costs 6. It has to have 8K power because it has to be amateur-able. So like,
Yeah.
you know, it's just the way that like design works on these things. So it's it's I think this is perfectly fine. I think a lot of people expected a bit more, but like I'm glad that it doesn't do a bit more. If I'm honest, like if it did, I think that would be absolutely broken. But you know, you can. I think the only problem is that, like, again, if you're going to freeze your opponent's backups and discard their cards, even if it's down to 1, they're still going to draw cards before you do. I think that's the only thing to say with that, really. But otherwise,
One of my issues with it is its name.
Sure.
Because I still like the Kate Sif backup.
Maybe though now there's enough like really solid Emina targets that doesn't matter.
I mean, its initial advantage of seeing their hand.
Yeah, I don't know.
And if you play that, you're immediately looked at this. Although I don't think I'd ever play this in an ice deck anyway. So.
Well, you put it as a one-of because you can, but like if you compare this to Tidus and Montleonis, this falls flat.
Definitely. Well, you know, I don't know. I haven't massively been impressed with Montleonis, to be honest, but
I think even Ace is better than this.
Really?
I've played Ace recently. I played Ace recently. Yeah, it's not. It feels better than this reads.
I think this is probably the worst legend bar 1, which we haven't seen
I
yet.
don't know about that. Vincent is probably the worst legend, I'd say.
No, for LBs.
Sure, okay. Nice full art though. Sid Highway.
It's a wicked full art.
Again, top 3.
This has kind of grown on me. This is
You play too low amount of backups for it to reliably hit anything. So like the only thing that like you can do with this is say this is cast 1.
I think this has to be bad because it's a proactive LB card. If this had any more than top 3, then I think it would be broken, obviously. But I think even still, if you don't see any backups in your first hand, including Mulligan, you're probably going to hit something then in the next 3, more than likely. So it's a nice backup plan. At the very least, I will say this card is leagues above Yuri at the very least. So
I don't know about that.
I don't agree actually either. Because
I've
that
grown
breaks a
on
monster.
Yuri. The fact, it plays the Chelenka that breaks monsters.
That might be more relevant this set.
This says for Windex cast 1. I think that's and if it draws a card, fantastic. But I think that's what you're supposed to do with this more than anything.
I've been playing a bit of Mono Wind lately, and I feel that's a good card to have because you run a low amount of backups. You play it as like your next cast after you've tried your normal ways of going through your deck with like Chocolate or whatever. I don't know. I think it's quite a useful tool.
Now, listen, I know that a lot of decks have a problem dealing with Bunaveltza and Garuda 3, but luckily, Wind has the answer here with this 7 CP 8K that just breaks a forward of cost 5 or 10. Thank God.
What were they thinking?
They were thinking L3.
The artwork is so cool.
Oh my God, this is going to be a gorgeous foil. I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
It doesn't even need to be an LB card, and it still would be terrible.
I think it's fair to say this is the worst LB. Full stop.
Yeah, Maybe.
Yeah, I think I'm with you there.
Yeah.
Like, it's 7 cost, limit break 2, and it only breaks cost 5 or 10.
It's also only 8k
And
for
8K.
that cost.
8k is the final Rochambeau for this card.
How many bad things can we give it? All of them. Just everything.
At least it's a win card. I don't want them getting anything.
It's also Cat 6 in wind. So, like, you're not even playing it in your Cat 6 deck.
There's a
you've
fire wind
got that
Cat
new-
6, you know.
Yeah, you got
Yeah.
number 128 or whatever the fellow.
Number
is.
128 and the new General Leo.
Look,
I think it's all coming together. I think we solved this card.
breaking 5 cost forwards is not inconsiderable. So it is likely that you could cast this. It's like, you know, we looked at Cecil and we kept looking at it for like, you know, that bit in the text that's like, oh yeah, no, that's the bit that makes sense. That's the bit, that sort of thing. Like, I'm trying to read more of it, but there's only one sentence. Like,
can Wind ever afford to pay 7 for this?
it doesn't
No,
have
but
to.
you pay 8 and then ace.
Well,
Yeah, like I just don't get why this would ever be cast.
Yeah.
Ico, 6 CP, 8k,
Again.
the Earth Legend one. So you can only cast Ico if you have a total of 9 or more summons in your break zone. Fun. And or summons you remove from the game. When Ico enters the field, you may search for one summon and remove it from the game. You can cast it without paying the cost this turn. That's not, again, insignificant. You've got to have a lot in the bin, but having a free arc isn't bad.
9 summons is not a lot, really, for like an Earth War summons deck, to be honest.
It's really nice that it
It's really
says
doable.
in the break zone and out of play and or out of play. So
Yeah.
it's like, okay, you're gonna miss Dragon Me, cheers. They're just guaranteed now.
Yeah, right. If your opponent wants to Irvin your 2 Amats, you're like, yeah, that's right. Cool. I'll use them later.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
gonna-
really cool.
In my humble opinion, as someone that occasionally plays Earth Water Summoners, the one problem I see is honestly, limit break 3 means you're less likely to play or have less opportunities to play Leos, to play like Clouds if you get the opportunities to. So I think limit break 3, I think you have to get value off of this.
Well, the water
Yeah,
limit break we're about to get to as well. Like,
Yeah.
I would say I think this is the sort of thing that the maths don't make sense. So if you've got 9 summons in the break zone or removed, what's in the deck?
Yeah, and again, when you're thinking of Earth Water Summoners, Chaos Arc, whatever, apart that the only summon you're playing that's more than 3 CP is going to be Arc. So you've got to get to the point where you, at the very least, still have an Arc in your deck. Otherwise, what you're going to be playing a Mist Dragon off of this? No. I do appreciate the fact that the summon goes to your break zone after casting it, because you remove it, then you cast it without paying the cost. So it does go to break zone, which is very, very nice. But yeah, it's for me as well. I really like the EX Burst Searcher Ico, and you can't play that with this card, unfortunately, because the other option for Ico backup is the 2 CP one where you search to chuck something in your bin. That one is breakable, so I think you're confined to having to play that Ico.
But that's
if
also
you-
the
if you
thing.
wanna
Like
play this.
you're in a rush to get your arcs out of the deck and into a place where you have access to them as quickly as possible. So it's not that. So what is in the deck? I think that's a huge consideration for this. Like,
You know what's really interesting is Man in Black puts cards out of play, so that actually counts towards this as well.
yeah.
I think there's a fun deck with this and the 5 cost radio. Just play a load of 9 cost summons.
Oh yeah, free riding. That'd be cool. Free Bahamut. Yeah.
The thing is, then, is like we've not had a significant summon in such a long time. Like, the Bahamut and the Raidens are basically a pinnacle of what a summon can do, as well as arc, I suppose.
Yeah.
But other than that, we just haven't had any what I would consider to be exciting summons. Like everything's going to cost like 2 or 3 at most, maybe a 5-cost summon. But most 5-cost summons have some form of power reduction tied to them anyway. A cost reduction tied to them. So I don't know. I feel like this card could be really, really fun, especially with the Rydia. Like you said, that's one of my favorite cards. I remember playing Rydia Roulette when that deck came out, and it's one of the most fun decks I've ever played in this game. But the summons are just not there at the moment. Not to mention, as we were talking about earlier as well, like the last time we had a legend summon was Opus 5, was Phoenix and Diablos. We've just not had anything interesting recently. I say recently for a long, long time. So
I'm surprised as well. This is only 8k.
No, that's fine. I think.
I mean, compared to Tidus and Mont and that, like.
Tidus is a mistake by far.
Like and you've already got the restrictions on when you're allowed to cast this, unlike all of the other LBs.
Yeah,
I just think this could have been better.
I just wish there was a way to really control summons a little better. I mean, have you got like, is it a Unalesca that can put summons back in the deck? But like, it's still probably not going to really. I think this is. I really appreciate the design space, but it feels quite backwards. I think that it doesn't quite work out that way. But look, maybe somebody will figure this one out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Next up we have Noctis. This will see play, 100%.
Yeah, Kusif at any point you want.
Yeah, it's fine. Get a key forward back. You know, it's not Kusif because obviously it's not instant speed, but it's solid. It's also not a massively contested name, so you know.
This will see a lot of play.
It does what it says, right? Like that's it.
Any forward, no color restriction. Yeah, it's pretty handy.
Edge. Oh man, this one's cool. So the Lightning Legend is LB3, and when Edge enters the field until the end of the turn, all forwards of Lightning Ninja, Lightning or Job Ninja, Carly Ninja gain. When this forward attacks, choose one forward opponent controls, deal it 7,000 damage. It's definitely something to clear for going wide and having your finisher, right? That's. Pretty big. Mono Lightning really loves a card like this. It's insanely good.
I think it has a place in Ice Lightning, but a really disgusting combo would be in conjunction with the 5 CP Yuffie. Because why can't that deal 7k on attack as well as everything else it does?
Oh, but
I do. Sorry,
I'll say. Oh, but the Yuffie from this set draws cards.
I honestly feel like that this saying job and card name ninja is a bit of a trap. I think this is just a mono lightning card. I think this being a finisher in mono lightning is
I agree.
Absolutely absurd.
Could you imagine Man in Black attacking off of this? Oh my god.
Could you imagine Fujin, Raijin, and Cypher attacking off of this?
Crazy, yeah.
When they all have haste.
It doesn't. I really like that it doesn't. It's sort of like it only does one thing, and it doesn't have like a restriction on backup or element or anything like that. It's good. It's
that's really cool.
Huge lightning push. I love it.
It is an ETB does suffer to Amaterasu, but what doesn't at this point?
Yeah, that's not a criticism at all. Like, is it? Like,
no, it's just something you got to say, really. But if you don't have an Amaterasu, note that the auto ability gives the forwards those abilities. So if this dies before combat, you don't give a toss.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, if this gets Kuchalaned before combat, you couldn't give a crap. You know, it's already done what it's needed to do. It can leave. It can do whatever it wants. It can get a full-time job. It can go off live in the countryside for all I care. It's done what it's needed to do, and you're probably just going to win the game on the spot.
Yeah. It's solid. Even having a chance to play 2 of these, I'll definitely be looking for these. I think it's really.
I don't think you're going to play 2 of these because you're still going to play at least one Clouder game. But
but you know,
you do have the opportunity to, which is nice.
Nyx. Oh wow. Okay. 5 CP, limit break 1. If a lightning character or a 15 character you control has been put from the field into the breaks in this turn, it only becomes a 1 CP 9k. Similar to what you said just now, I think this is a lightning card and not a Kingsglaive card. It can't be a Kingsglaive card because it's called Nyx.
Yeah. You've got way better Nyxes to use in Kingsglaive, but this is really cool, actually. This is just a 1 CP. This is quite an easy 1 CP 9k for a lot of decks that run lightning.
Also, is this artwork literally just ripped off of the cover?
It's the
of the
poster. It's one of the posters of the film. Yeah.
It's so funny.
Well, because the framing's weird because it's clearly on the right.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, not everything else that's going on in the left. Like it's half a poster.
They finally decided to do more Kingsglaive stuff, and they made one an LB and one out of element. Like,
And the LB is called Nyx.
I don't understand.
Do you know what? No, I will say, devil's advocate. The cool thing being that you could control this entirely with like access. Just bin off access, get your card back. This costs 1. That's solid, right?
Yeah, because they all want to break or have break effects pretty much anyway.
But this is solid, and especially if next turn you play the Edge and he's dealing 7k on attack, that's crazy, right?
This is missing just like above his head, featuring like Aaron Paul.
Breaking Bad theme.
There's one more character that's meant to be on the poster that's been cut off. That's next to Regis.
Beatrix. Everyone's losing their mind over this thing. I think it's called Beatrix and it costs 4, personally.
That's right. I think if you don't hit a Beatrix off of your Corilla, I think it's fine to play. But the fact that it's only on attack, it's going to suffer the same thing that Knights always suffer to, is board wipe. If this doesn't get to attack, it doesn't get value.
It's so slow.
It's like it suffers the exact same. It doesn't fix any of Knight's problems.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of excitement over this one, but man, I wish I could get just as excited. And I know, like, as soon as you play it, it is fuel for Ramza, but like, I don't know, controlling 3 job Knight forwards is big, but like on attack, I don't know. Yeah. I don't think
you play it in Knights anyway. I think you're right with it being important for Ramza. I think if your opponent managed to have a single target removal that for some reason they don't use on a Ramza or they can't use on a Ramza, being able to just pop this out and go boom, there's my last Knight I needed for the ability.
God that Water only got 1 LB, because the other one, Jesus. Right, where do we start with this one? So, limit break 2. When Luna Freya enters the field, reveal the top 5 cards of your deck and add 1 card among them to your hand and return the others to the bottom of your deck in any order. If the card added to your hand has an EX burst, you may trigger its EX burst effect. Oh my Christ. Not element locked.
This card's like 4 to 6 CP too cheap. as my view of it.
Yeah, I actually think you're probably right. I would probably have costed this at 7. And maybe it made this a 5k, at least, right? And LB3.
Just compare this to Sid Highwind. Like, Sid Highwind adds a backup in your top 3. This adds a card in the top 5 and triggers the EX on it.
Like EX Leviathan.
For 2 CP more.
Like,
yeah.
EX Leviathan or Tyro, all the stuff like this will just go in.
That's the thing, like, you're paying 6, even if you don't hit any experts, you've paid 6 for this and a card to hand.
Yeah.
And you've gone digging to know what's there. Like, it's not bad.
If I mulligan hit no backups, I will play this turn 1, hit a Tyro, and be nowhere as far behind as I would if I had a backup on turn 1. Realistically, like,
so stupid.
Yeah, I don't really know what we can say to this one. Like, there it is. It's all written on the card. Like, what's the worst you can do? Hit Kukulane and draw a card. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, might as well mention the Amaterasu tax, but at best, this is just going to be 3 cards out of your hand and 3 cards out of your opponent's hand.
Yeah.
It's not.
But yeah, this doesn't only buff slower decks though. This buffs aggro decks. Because say Knights, you don't see Corilla in your first 11 cards. You play this, add Corilla, and you still have enough to play Corilla.
I don't think there's ever a point in the game where casting this is a bad idea.
Oh god, like hitting Garland and then getting Ramza back. Rough. Rough. Horrible. Especially with the fact that Knight's like LB deck isn't great anyway. Like, but even like Warrior of Light with this, it's awful. Everything about it is awful.
Just like the ceiling for it though is just dumb. Like hitting Tyro and like 4-color decks or
King
6
Tycoon,
Leviathan and things like that.
Claris.
Yeah, Thornton. So you're not only playing it next turn, you're triggering the search as well now. It's just sure.
Yeah. What was it you said earlier? Saying. Mistake. Definitely.
Go into what Jack was saying about playing it any time during a game. What about hitting something like 7-drop Odin mid-game? It's like, thank you very much. That's like cleared everything up for me.
What about 9 CP Odin? That was our spoiler, and it's in this set.
Watch out for that pre-release.
And that's the thing as well to mention as well, that all of these 6 CP ones that are here, because they're actually 4s and they cost 6 in this, none of them can be hit by 5 CP Odin. Like, having that as an extra cost means it's harder to get rid of them from cost-based stuff. So, like, yeah, rough.
This, though, is way too cheap. This needed to cost so much more for what it does.
Yeah, 7, I think, is probably the one. 7
I think that's still too low.
No, you can't have any more than that. It just won't see play. 7, I think. This should be odd regardless. Like, yeah, well.
Like, this is a fine turn 1 play. It's dumb.
Luso, I read this and I was severely disappointed with it, but because everyone was like, "Oh, we're going to get the light LB. This is going to be Maydine's time." It's not Maydine's time at all.
It adds 3 backups.
Yeah.
So I think it's fine.
5 for this is expensive.
Is it? 3 though. Like if you look, think of it as you have 3 backups in a mono deck, and then you tap 3, discard, play this, search the free backup, play the free backup.
Free backup?
The
free standard unit backups, the mono ones.
Oh, right, okay, yeah, sure.
I don't know.
I don't think it's that bad. I don't think it's phenomenal, but I really could see this being played
as a one-off. Maybe I think it. Yeah, I think it's quite disappointing if I'm honest.
I think Connor's right. The fact that you ramp your backups and you can get the free cards back up very easily.
I still think I'd rather have Little Leela in my LB deck than this. Just considering that will continue to be popular.
But if you're thinking of it from Mono Earth, where you need to get to 5, and once you get to 5, you're basically winning. Like, no matter what. This is very strong.
Yeah. But then what do you do if you've already drawn those ones? That's just useless, right?
Then you use this as your LB, right?
Yeah,
you just play something else.
I don't know. I'm not massively convinced on this one. But again, maybe it'll be used against me and I'll just see how just disgusting it is. But yeah, I don't know. We can compare it to this and it's just,
that's 1 CP more. Yeah.
And that was that. Is that it? That's the last one.
We get a crystal.
It's this one again. Yeah, great, cool.
Stopper,
well, that's everything, and it's very late. So, yeah, I think again, has anybody got strong feelings on this set? I think looking through everything, I think the power level of this is pretty high, and things are really going to change. I think
again, looking through this set, there's okay. I've changed my mind from the start. There's one of 3 things I've been thinking about this set. It either loses to 4-color, it goes in 4-color, or it's like monsters now. Because I think the monsters stuff we've got in this set is actually absurd.
Witch of the Fens, mate. She's too good. Queener.
It's the Fremelda I'm going to be watching the most. So I
Yeah,
want to see how the ceiling that actually has.
I think it's absolutely. I don't know. It's just, there's some really cool stuff in here, but yeah, I think it's Witch of the Fens has been the one that's I've just been like, oh my god, she's amazing. Like
Yeah.
she can literally board wipe with stuff that you don't even care about anymore. Like it's Fremelda as well. That.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think she's the one I'd be looking for the full arts of. I think, but other than that, let's call it a day here. So, well, thanks for joining me, guys, and let's get stuck into pre-release this weekend. Thanks very much for listening and staying with us all this time. So, yeah, thanks very much.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.